without further ado, Dylan Avery, thank you for joining us on the program, man. I cannot wait to see this film. I know you guys had a gig with David Ray Griffin. We had him on the show a couple of days ago. We talked about the gig in Oakland. Tell us how that went, the lead up to the film. You're probably glad you're done editing it. What are we going to get here, Dylan? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Jack, it's good to be back. The first thing I do have to clarify that we unfortunately couldn't get much of a theatrical run, so it's not going to be available in theaters, but it is going to be available virtually everywhere. I mean, if you go on Walmart's website right now, it's available on there. It's on Netflix, a couple other mainstream sites, Amazon, for example. So it's being handled by a legitimate distribution company. We just unfortunately couldn't get a theatrical run. But one of the first major differences of it, as you just said, is the addition of Daniel Sunjata as our narrator. He really brings a certain degree of legitimacy to the movie that I technically didn't have before because I was the one that narrated it, pretty much due to circumstances outside of my control. So you're going to see new evidence presented by Stephen Jones. You're going to see a new introduction to the film that goes through historical precedents. It's for September 11th, starting with the Reichstag fire back in the early 30s, which pretty much led Hitler to power. The Gulf of Tonkin incident, which led the United States into Vietnam officially, which is an incident that was later declassified to prove it never happened. And it's pretty much a post-Bush administration loose change, and we're really, a lot of people, some people have said after the screenings in Oakland, or the screening in Oakland rather, that they think it might actually be the most polished of all four of the films. So I'm pretty stoked so far.
I don't doubt it. You did a great job. This effort is meant not to convert the converted, not to preach to the choir, but to, again, reach more people, which seems to be your area of expertise. Earlier in the program, just 10 minutes ago, and all this morning, we interviewed Yuki Fujita, who was so moved by your series Loose Change that he became a 9/11 truther in Parliament in Japan. And that just shows the power of what we can do together when we work together.
That's outstanding.
It's very humbling, I'm sure, Dylan.
Yeah, and it's great that members of Parliament are starting to come out. In fact, I think a member of Swedish Parliament just came forward and decided to put forward an initiative. And NYC can. They got validated today. There's 30,000 signatures are valid. It's going to be on the ballot in November.
We had Manny on in the first hour, and he told us all about that.
That is, that's outstanding, man. I mean, what better news to get on 9/11?
Yeah. Amazing. I got to get you to comment on this a little bit. The big news here this week is Charlie Sheen is back in the fray. He's done his 20 minutes with the president. This is getting, a lot of media attention, as we knew that it would. He seems determined and serious to follow this through. And I met Charlie, and I looked into his soul, Dylan. And he really means it, man. He's really very serious about all of this, and he's got a lot to lose. But I'd just like to get your comment on all of that. No matter what you think, put it on the record.
Yeah, I think it's great that a guy with his clout, he's got the best-rated and highest-paid TV show on the air right now, and the fact that he's using that clout to openly question the sitting administration and the sitting president specifically, I think that's great. I'm looking forward to see if he actually gets some kind of an audience with the president. I can't actually see it happening, to be completely honest. I mean, I'm not bashing the effort at all. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great effort, and I think it's, I'm interested to see where it goes, essentially, is what I'm saying.
Well, the president has turned him down already, as we hear, but there is a possibility for a debate on the Larry King show. We're hearing a lot of other things. It just seems like 8 years later, when I came into this, which happened on 9/11, 2001, we were 8 years removed from the World Trade Center 1993 bombing. We were only 6 years removed, I believe, from the Oklahoma City bombing. But this just lives on. What is it about 9/11, Dylan, in your opinion, that just remains, that can't be dropped, that can't be put down, that supersedes all false flag events as we know them?
Did you lose me?
Yeah.
No,
you're up there. Go ahead.
I heard you. Not to adjust it, but I heard what you said. The thing about 9/11 is just the far-reaching implications, and just the simple fact that 2,974 people slaughtered that day, the majority of them in the World Trade Center on live television with audiences watching around the world. This was a massive psychological trauma to both the New Yorkers that were there and, of course, in Virginia and Shanksville and the television audience that watched it both in the country and around the world. You didn't have that kind of media coverage with Pearl Harbor, which is the only event inside the land of the United States that could even come close in terms of casualties. So this really was an unprecedented method of doing what they did, and I think that's why. That is absolutely why people are so distraught over it, and people continue to fight to this day.
And then we look at the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, and what was behind it? The FBI, which was admitted in all the major newspapers. I don't know. I haven't seen your film, so I don't know if that was included in, but I always think that that is really a precedent point when we're talking about, 9/11 being an inside job. We have to understand that the 1993 World Trade Center bombing was an inside job, and that was an admitted inside job. So many questions, so little time. First, I want to say, Dylan, sign us up here for the Austin, Texas showing of Loose Change 9/11 and American Coup. We'd like to have an event here for you, and sign us up or throw us in the hopper and give it to the person that can do it best. But as you said, Netflix is going to carry this film. Walmart's going to carry this film. Blockbuster is going to carry this film. And though it may not be in a major release format, it will be in film festivals, and we will, as independents, be showing it to thousands and thousands of people in every city across the country. I think this has the potential to be bigger than all the Loose Changes put together. Dylan, your comments.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Between the NYC Can initiative and all the other things that are going on, between the end of 2009 and 2010, it's going to be an interesting time for 9/11 Truth. It seems like things are finally starting to break forward. I hope, anyway.
I talk to you, and we're friends, and I think of, when I played music and all of the musicians I know, they spend, years, sometimes their whole lives, creating a record. And then they're being told they have to follow up with another record, and each one has to gain more and more money. And I hate to ask you this question, but isn't it a lot of pressure? To surpass the staggering numbers, the most downloaded film in Internet history, the staggering numbers, the pressure just has to be insane to top yourself every time, Dylan, if you don't mind commenting on that.
Yeah, honestly, this last one, American Coup, I really made the film in a month, to be honest with you. I wrote the script in about a week and a half, give or take. And, of course, there were rewrites and tweaks, but, the main writing was done in about a week and a half, and the editing was done in about 3, because we had a couple different teams that were going to edit the film, and ultimately, pretty much none of them said they could do it between time constraints and other things. But we still had to meet our September 22nd street date, so I ended up having to make the film anyway. And it was really, I didn't think about it, I really never have, and I've never tried to think about the implications or how many people are going to see this or whatever. It's really just always been about making what I feel to be the best film at the time. And really, American Coup, is maybe one of the best examples of me just doing my thing, because it was literally me in my apartment in San Diego. Corey was back home in upstate New York, and I had none of the producers that were involved in this were, calling me and telling me, you need to take this out of the script or do this or do that. The team that I worked with on this, they're very open, and, it was very easy for me to just sit in my room and make the film that I felt was best, and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, less cooks in the kitchen seem to not spoil the brew. I'm going to go back to Charlie Sheen for 1 second, because this is filling the airwaves. This is a big story, but it almost is a 1-2 punch, and I want people to understand that this isn't coordinated. All the various parties aren't talking to each other to figure this out. It's almost as if you did, though, and it couldn't have been planned in a better way, because just when people get finished with the whole Charlie Sheen hype story, they go to Daniel Sinjata, who is also a huge actor, well-respected for his craft, award-winning actor, who's put his name to Loose Change 9/11 and American Coup, coming out on September 22nd. It's just the perfect vehicle to keep the ball rolling, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a very interesting time seeing how the rest of the month plays out, and really the end of the year, especially with NYC Can. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out in November.
Yeah. I want everybody, all of my listeners, and everybody they know, and everybody that they know, to jump on that NewYorkCan.org initiative that Manny Badillo was talking about a little bit earlier. Dylan, in a perfect world, I mean, we're entering into a new year. There's a lot coming out. It seems like the snowball still continues to roll down the hill. What would you like to see happen going forward for the next 6 months to a year? How do you want to see all it play out?
Oh, man, I mean, I would like to see my country return somewhat to normal. You know, kind of feel the same kind of warm and fuzzy feeling that I used to feel when I was a kid about my country. You know, I'd like things to get somewhat back to normal. You know, as impossible as impossible of a demand as that may seem, that really is the one main thing I'd like to see. And you know, as we all keep telling people, uncovering 9/11 is the key to all that.
Yeah. Loose Change 9/11, an American coup. LooseChange911.com. You can Google it anywhere. Please, folks, promote this film. Dylan, I still remember we were about to take the stage in front of Suicidal Tendencies to introduce him. I was going to bring you up on that stage in L.A. in front of thousands of people. It turned into a giant Obama fest. I lost whatever hope I had at that time. There goes Dylan Avery.